Okay, we are back. Hello, guys. Excuse me for sounding a bit froggy. I decided after this morning's incredibly crazy wake-up call at past goodness knows what this morning that I would go and have a nap. And it's one of those naps where it was such a deep nap, I can't. Oh. It's weird when a nap makes you feel more tired than you were before. But we will persevere. I have caffeine. I'll be fine. So I'm just getting some brushes and things out because I did say earlier that I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this, how I was going to colour it, and then when I woke up just earlier, I was like, oh, hang on. Deco art paint, I remember. Hi, Penny. Yeah, I am a deco art helping artist, and I had got some spooky sparkles. This is one of their sets of glitter paints, seasonal glitter paints, spooky sparkles. Thought were awesome. And I'm supposed to be testing them out. And I've got my Americana satin tester pots as well to play with. So yeah, we'll be doing some acrylic paint to start with. Hey Foxy, hi Turtle Moon. Welcome back everybody. I'm impressed there's as many of you here as there is, because I just saw on my links that Dee Dee's just gone live over on Ustream not long ago. I didn't know she streamed on a Saturday. I thought she was Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Maybe it's a special Halloween one. You have to excuse me, I'm all discombobulated. I feel a bit like Scooby when he wakes up at the moment. Oh, right. Before we get going on part 2, look what just arrived. Oh, and I'm expecting I just had a text to say that I've got an Amazon thing out for delivery. I'm waiting for a new router to arrive, which should make my internet streaming that much more betterer. So at some point the doorbell could go and I might have to rush off to go and answer it. But I just got this in the post this morning. Isn't this awesome? It's the Diggs and Manor notebook collection from, it's designed by Anna Danielle, that's the illustrator. Set of 3 notebooks, plain lined and graphed pages, designed by Anna Danielle at The Little Dog Laughed. And it's www.thelittledog.co.uk. And these are exactly the same as field notes, notebooks and whatnot. They're a tiny bit bigger than field notes. They're more akin to a moleskin pocket. It's very, very slightly bigger. But they're doggies, and they have a cat set as well. She has a cat set as well. So www.thelittledog.co.uk by Anna Danielle. I'll just open these up. I haven't tried them or anything, as you can see. It might be really horrible paper. I doubt it though. They look really nice on the outside. Usually independent artists' products are a bit better than your average run-of-the-mill stuff. So they are sewn, just like a moleskin cahier or volant, or, you know. And we've got a little Jack Russell type in bed. Actually, if all these white bits were black, that would be Maddie. Happy to top and tail, but keep your feet still. We've got a Dulux dog type. Your best trainers? Nope, not seen them. Oh, isn't he cute? And he's got a shoelace in his mouth. And then this one, we've got a little, is that a Shih Tzu? I know, it's just too hard to tell me to get off. Oh, he's on the sofa. Black dog on a white sofa. That's very typical. They're really cute, aren't they? The covers feel really nice. So this is the Diggs and Manor collection. The lined notebook. Oh, it's all perforated by the look of it. That's a bit of a shame, but it's not crazy perforated. It's weird. It's perforated along there, but it's also perforated along the top and bottom. How strange. A little doggy in the corner. So that's the lined one. And then this is the plain one. That's just perforated down the sides. Got the same doggy in the corner again. So this must be the graph one. Yep. Line dotted down the edge again with the doggy in the corner. Aren't they cute? I'm back in my field notes as a wallet. This one. So I saw these and I thought, oh, as you do, because they've got doggies. Oh, so they're going to go in my field notes book. Anyway, so if you've just come back from this morning, hi, welcome back. I did an early show this morning because the Australian and Japanese students and New Zealand students in my classes all said they would like to come to a live show, and once a month try and do an early one. So I've split today's show into 3 parts instead of 2, and we've already done 2 hours this morning. This is the reference photo. What we're doing is working on our either a Halloween journal page or Dia dos Muertos journal page or just an autumn journal page. Instead of, I mean, I'm obviously doing some kind of an altar setup type thing. You could be doing an autumn setup and I don't know, draw words. Come on. Hi, Ingvill. You could draw like an autumn recipe. If you're doing an autumn recipe or something like that, if you're baking, you could draw the kitchen equipment or something like that. Whatever you want to do. I just happen to be doing a Halloween / Samhain journal page in my Book of Shadows as a front piece for my Wheel of the Year. So I've stuck that in because I found it in a magazine and it saves me having to draw it out, and then I've just drawn this in. So in part 1 I showed you how to look at your reference photo, pick out the composition of the photo, and then to sketch in the basic shapes and then go back over with more detail. And obviously on here you can see, I couldn't really see what these flowers were, so this looks like some kind of an orchid, so I used an orchid as a reference there. And then this looks, I don't even know what that is. I really can't tell, it's just a flower. So I used a petunia over there just because I couldn't decide what to use. If you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Romany's Realm, we hit over 1,000 this morning. Woohoo! It's taken a while. I don't really use my Facebook page all that much, just for live events really. But yeah, we hit 1,000. If you go over there, you can find the photo of this that you can look at, so you can blow it up big on your screen if you want to see this in better detail. But I also put this on as 2 sides of a page for those of you who want to maybe print it out, or for those of you who were drawing along this morning and want to finish off, or if you've just tuned in and you want to print off my version and draw from that rather than the photo, that's fine. And what we're going to do now is paint. So I'm going to do my usual technique of, normally I would ink this in and then I would watercolour it as a base layer, and then I would go back in with colour pencil afterwards. Obviously I want to try my deco arts. I am a deco art helping artist, which basically means that they give me deco art paints and I play with them. I am not here to sell you deco art paints, okay? But I have to say, from what I've played with them so far, they're very good, especially these Americana ones. The crafty ones, the cheap ones, are a little bit thinner and they don't go on quite as well, but I get quite a good coverage with these. Although I have to say the satin ones, which these are, seem to go on a little bit more transparent than the regular Americana. I say seem to because I really haven't had a chance to play very much with them at the moment. And then I've got my spooky Halloween sparkles. I thought we could add some of that to the page because, you know, what's Halloween without a bit of sparkle, right? So I'm going to use this to do the colour wash, which I've not done before. I've used ordinary acrylic as a base before, just on its own, but I've not used a colour wash of acrylic before. That's something that I saw Dee Dee do, actually, Dee Dee Willingham. Maddie, what are you doing? Yeah, it's something that she's been doing in her colouring books. And I didn't realise these paints would water down quite as well as they do. So I'm keen to try it. And even though this is my book of shadows, I'm not overly precious about it. I want to, you know, get stuck in there and have a play, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I can take the page out, it doesn't matter. Stick something over it, who cares? But, you know, I don't tend to go into things thinking, oh, well, if it goes wrong, I can fix it. I tend to go into it saying, well, if it doesn't go according to plan, we can work with it. Okay, I just need something to prop this up under here. What have I got? I've got paperback book, that'll do. So if you're just joining us, welcome to the second live stream today. In the first one we drew this. I showed you how to draw this from a reference photo, and now we're going to paint it. Now this reference photo is dark. Everything is dark, because it was from a thing on Hoodoo. But I really liked the composition of the page and I think it's come out rather nicely. I've done a few tweaks and things. I'm still not sure what to do about this because it's actually a skull, but it's weird. It's not like a skull I've ever seen before, and it's almost like it's got ears. But then I thought, oh, what if it's horns? Thank you. It's just a sketch, honestly. I get annoyed with artists who, you know, they do something really good and they're like, oh no, it's not that good. It's just a sketch. It only took me 20 minutes. I get annoyed with people who do that because, to me, that is disrespecting beginners. Because a beginner would look at what you're doing and go, oh my word, that's awesome. And to do it, put it down and say, oh, it's just a quick sketch when it's obviously really good, I find very annoying. But at the same time, when I say it's just a sketch, what I mean is it's just put together in the way I do everything else. Hi, Claire. There's no secret. There's no big secret to sketching, okay? It's 98% practice. And the rest of it is just knowing how to look at things and draw them in a way that works. I'll give you an example. This is actually the example I gave earlier when I was talking to this morning's group. And Tam won't mind me mentioning her because she thought it was hilarious. You know, if any of you have taken a course with Tam Willowing, Tam Laporte, or actually most artists, mixed media artists tend to do this who teach. When she's drawing faces, she's like, okay, just start with an oval and just keep going round and round and round until you get an oval, okay? And she does it, and eventually all the lines converge and she gets a perfect oval. If I do it, this is what happens. I'm like, there's no oval there. You might be able to like take that bit there, but then it's uneven. You know, hers comes out a perfect oval, and I'm like, I can't do that. So I developed my own way of doing it, where everything is based on squares and rectangles, because it's so much easier to draw a square or a rectangle. So, like for instance, drawing these bottles. I'm just doing a quick recap, just for those of you who are sketching now and haven't seen the first one. Okay, here's a quick rectangle, okay? And within that rectangle, we're going to do a curve there and a curve there. And oh look, you've just drawn the top of your bottle. Even it up on both sides. And there's your oval. Bring it down at the sides. And oh yeah, you need a curved bottom at the bottom. Oh, how are we going to do that? Well, we draw another rectangle. And we draw another curve at the bottom. And this time, we only finish the bottom bit. Like that. If it's a glass one, we might do both. One a bit fainter, maybe. Okay? Same with the circle. You draw a square. This is how I drew my crystal ball here. Hi, Bisha. You start with a square, and then all you do is round off the corners. So from the centre point of each, round it off. You see how much easier that is to get something approximating a circle than it is to just go like that and hope that it ends up as a circle. And that's all it is. It's just drawing squares and blocks and then turning them into the shape that you want. But as I was saying, this thing in the middle, I'm not quite sure what it is. I may have to change it. I don't know what it is, and I can't really see what it looks like. The fact that I haven't got my glasses, I don't know where my glasses are, isn't helping, but it's not like any kind of skull I've ever seen. I don't understand why it's got ears. That's really throwing me. They could be horns, but then they're not sticking out in the right place for horns. Unless it's, oh, I wonder if it's maybe a ram's head and it's got those horns that are supposed to come out in a circle like that. Maddie, stop chewing your toenails. The vet lady will be telling you off. Little minx. Yeah, this is completely throwing me. I really don't know what to do about that. I may have to change it. Decisions. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to change it. It's bugging me, so I'm going to have to change it. There's no way I can make it look like anything other than like Winnie the Pooh's skull, because all I can see is a teddy bear skull because of those ears. If anybody recognises that skull, please tell me what it is. Now I'm actually going to take this out of here. What can we put in its place? I think maybe just some kind of a box, an ornate box of some kind. Hi, Cal. Maybe an ornate box of some kind. I wonder if we could... Ooh, okay. Go across there like that. And down here like this here. I'm just penciling in the front piece. I'm just thinking I've got a trinket box that's like from the top it would look like that. So I'm aiming for sort of this shape. Perhaps we could put like an ornate thing on the front with and maybe put something on top of it, like a candle or something. Yeah, like a little chest thing. So I'm just sketching in where I think the lines will be, like that. And I think I'll just bring it up a little bit higher so it's got a lid. Like that maybe, so I can get rid of these back lines now. Don't need those there. Going behind there, so this is a glass dish, so we'll just put a kind of a little ghost in the background there. Like that. We need something to fill this space, and it just occurred to me we could do like a pestle and mortar type thing. So how about if we do the rectangle there for the top. Let's do the base quite shallow. So this will be the base here. And the top there. And then they usually have a thick rim, don't they? So a thick rim in there like that. And then the mortar, you have to imagine where the bowl is going to be. So here's where the inside of the bowl is going to be. So carrying on that inside rim, parallel with the outer rim. So the mortar would be about there. Is that the mortar or the pestle? I can't remember now. So they're kind of a triangular shape, but they come back out at the top into a ball shape with a flat handle. So something like that. Get rid of our guidelines. You have to get rid of every single line. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean. You can see I've not done that with the rest of it. I'm using this pencil. It was sent to me by Linda. It's a Palomino Blackwing. I've heard of these before. Apparently they're like the Ferrari of pencils kind of thing. I don't know if they're discontinued or if they changed them or something, or if they went away and they came back. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a different one I'm thinking of, but I thought you couldn't get these anymore. But it's a really nice pencil. I'm not a big fan of pencils like this. I prefer mechanical pencils, but you can see you get a really deep shape on it. Now this looks a bit empty here, so what I'm going to do is just add a mat. or a saucer or whatever you want to call it. It's just kind of a place thing there, just to fill up the space. Too much empty space will draw the eye. And then this, it looks like it's hovering. Can you see how it looks like it's hovering above that? So to get rid of that, we need something in front here that overlaps. So I'm just going to draw in there. I'm going to draw in another candle, because obviously you can't have too many candles. That's not possible. So turn that into a dish with a candle, and now that suddenly doesn't look like it's floating anymore. It's in the thing where it should be. So maybe we've got some candle wax dripping down this one because it's at the front. You might be able to see a bit of detail on it. So there, how about that? Now this box, it's kind of right over the middle of that, that's bad planning. Let's just do a simple keyhole. Oh, I know, we could draw the key on top, couldn't we? So there we go, there's a key. Give it some dimension. Maybe have a tassel on it, hanging down here. Like that. Just to add a bit of interest, just to fill up the blank space. Oh yeah, we haven't missed much. I gave up on the skull in the middle. The big skull. It was looking more and more like Winnie the Pooh's head. So I decided to get rid of that, and instead I've drawn an ornate box and a pestle and mortar, and I put a candle in here just to make everything look like it's on a table. Could probably do with something down here somewhere, but I'll worry about that later. Oh, actually, I know what I could do. Let's do something a bit crooked there, like that. Bit of rope. Kind of a bit of a crystal-y type affair going on. And now we've got a wand. There you go. That'll do. I've smudged that bit now. Visitors cancelled. You can stay. Yay! I think we can call that the cheer of the introvert. Can we not? The cheer of the introvert. No crow. No, there is no crow. Sorry, just having a drink. There is a reason there isn't a crow. One, I don't really have room to put a crow. Oh, it would have been nice to have one here, but I don't really have room. Two, the next page I'm going to do is a page on the crow totem, or the raven totem, and I have somewhere around here, somewhere, there it is, I have this. And what I thought I could do, because this is a napkin, it's one of those 4-ply napkins, so I can pull all the backs off this, like this. Oops. We'll do this right at the very end today if I get time, if I remember. Somebody maybe remind me. So you pull off the natural 3 plies, and then there'll always be another ply that you can pull off. It's quite tricky to get hold of, but just when you think you can't pull off any more plies, there's another layer. I can't really see what I'm doing to pull it off properly because I haven't got my glasses on. I don't know where my glasses are. If anybody has any idea where my glasses are, please let me know. I haven't seen them since Thursday night when I was working on the accounts, but I've looked in the box where I chucked everything. Anyway, this will come off. It is a cool napkin, isn't it? Is this one of the ones you gave me, Foxy? Somebody gave me one of these. I don't know, it's got a quote from Nevermore, it's got a thing about, it's got the dictionary definition of raven and dream. Oh, dreary, sorry. It's a quo. It's a Edgar Allan Poe one. I never noticed that before. Darkness, raven, nevermore, dreary. How about that? But these napkins, if you can get this second layer off here, the duplicate layer, because there's the 3 plies and then there's always another layer on here. If I can get this white layer off and put this on with a bit of matte medium onto the next page, I can have this as like the background of the page. So I could do one there and then kind of white out the bits that I want to and write over it. So I thought that's why I haven't got a crow. But yes, it would have looked cool with a crow in the corner there. Okay, let's get some painting on. I've got to clear some space. As always. I am at that stage now where chucking things on the floor is probably the easiest answer. Okay, so some water, cloth, paint. I'm not using the colours on this page because basically it's all dark, which is good, but I don't want it all completely dark. It won't be like this is a page on hoodoo, so it would be dark and it's appropriately dark, but for this I want it a little bit more colourful. A little bit. I'm going to do it more Samhain colours. So I've got my mixy thing here. I was trying to find my wet palette and I couldn't find it anywhere. I don't know what I've done with it. Happy Halloween! Hi Mickey. Okay, let's start with a biggish brush and fill in the larger areas with a wash. I'm just trying to get everything on the camera so that you can see what I'm doing, but I can reach everything that I need. Let's do it that way. That's better. There we go. So you can kind of see what I'm doing on my palette as well now. But I'm just taking some paints, mixing some water. Okay, I'm going to tidy up that feather there. Because I'm just making sure, I'm not being fussy about it, I'm just making sure that anything that is opaque, that you're not going to be able to see what's behind it, like, crikey. This is a glass jar, so you can kind of see the things behind it there. And you can kind of see the bottom of the jar here. But a quill is not... a quill is a feather, so it's not see-through. So I'm just removing the bits behind the feather because that is better. What kind of paints do I use? Normally I would use watercolours. I think that, no, sorry about that noise in the background. There's a bloke with a quad bike who comes round every weekend, and he's really annoying and noisy. Normally I would use watercolours. Just throw on a wash of watercolours. Hi Janet, happy Halloween. Every time I say happy Halloween, my head goes Merry Christmas, because that's Nightmare Before Christmas, isn't it? Oh dear. What was I saying? Come on, brain. Start working. I'm so tired. I've lost my train of thought now. That noise in the background put me off completely. What paints do I use? Normally I would use watercolours, and I like the Sakura Koi set. I recommend that to my students because it's a really good basic set. But today I am using my Deco Arts because I am now a Deco Art helping artist, and they give me paints to play with, and I use them in my demos. I'm not here to sell you Deco Arts, I'm just playing with them, and I'll give you an honest opinion on what I think. Haven't really had a chance to play with these. I've played a little bit, as you can see, but I've got this basic set, and I've got this spooky Halloween set. And I've also got a Christmas set, and I will be doing a giveaway for those at some point on my blog. So you'll need to keep an eye out for that, because I got a separate set. They're an ideal beginner's set because they're just little pots. Let me just grab what it looks like in case you didn't see the show the other week. This is what they look like. So they're the craft paints. They're like the big craft bottles, but they're only like 12 milliliter, maybe 12 ounce. No, I don't know. They're really tiny pots anyway. Instead of the big 2 ounce bottles, these are like really tiny. They're like you used to get in the painting by numbers stuff. So they're very good for beginners if you're not sure if you want to do acrylics or whatever. Okay, so starting with a large-ish brush, not a massive brush, but large-ish. This is a number 4 System 3 De La Rowney, because I know somebody will ask, but I'm not precious about my brushes. I get the brushes that I like the feel of. When you buy a brush, think about the consistency of the paint and the feel of the paint, and just do that with the brush against your finger. And if you can imagine what painting with that paint would feel like, would it feel about right? If it feels like there's no resistance, you need a harder brush. If it feels like it's too stiff and it wouldn't go on nicely, you need a softer brush. So this is quite kind of bouncy, which is how I like my brushes for both watercolour and acrylic. Some people like the big floppy brushes that have no substance to them for watercolour. I can't stand those kind of brushes. That is a personal preference. I like a nice firm brush. I like to be able to feel the paint going onto the page. Conversely, for acrylics, I like the softer brush, which is about the same as the watercolour brushes I use. Watercolour brushes, very, very soft. Acrylic brushes, quite hard. My brush is somewhere in the middle. And just in case I didn't mention it earlier, I've got an Amazon delivery coming. They told me my Amazon delivery was out for delivery. Whoa, my Amazon box was out for delivery, so I may have to go and answer the door at some point. But I don't know what time it's coming, so. what colours am I going to use? I'm going to use, obviously, orange, yellow, bit of lime green, some black, probably some mauve, and maybe a little bit of red. Obviously, those are the colours I'm going to use. Not going to use pale pink or blush pink or turquoise, cerulean blue. I'll probably have some white later, but I won't use it just yet. I'm going to use some grey for the skull, and I might need some of that brown, but I'll wait and see, because brown can be a odd colour to use, I find. Haul what do you mean, haul video? I mean, obviously I know what a haul is, but what would I be doing a video on? Hi Patricia, happy Halloween. Merry Christmas! I can't help it. I've been watching The Nightmare Before Christmas. I've seen it about 6 times already. I need another drink, sorry. Okay. So these are the paints I'm going to use. This is going to be an amethyst geode. So that's going to be a bit of purple. Actually, let's get some of these paints out. Let's put some of them out onto the palette here. Great, now my neighbour is hoovering. Hope you can't hear that. It's so noisy here on Saturdays. That's the way you teach your classes. No, my classes are usually a bit more organised. Same basic principles. Certainly next year this is more of what we'll be doing, because obviously the techniques that I use is going to be the same. When Frogs Sing 2016, yeah, it's going to be this kind of thing, but we wouldn't do this all in one day. This is just a basic overview kind of YouTube, paint along with me kind of thing. I'm not teaching you, I'm just doing and talking to you about it. If we were doing this as a class, we would do a drawing week where we would do, learning about the basics. What I've just told you earlier about squares and rectangles, if it went right over your head, that's because it would be the first class that we would do. That would be the first hour of the class, would be learning how to do that and going and practicing it. The classes are way better, say Tracy and Claire. Thank you very much. So we might learn some basic ones, like drawing a circle from a square to start with. So we might draw that one there, and then we might draw the top of the skull as an oval. We might do these cylinder shapes here, so the glass jar, the jar with the lid, the bottle, the chalice, those kind of things. Or we might do the chalices and pots different. We might do these ones another day. And then we'd go in and we'd do things like the candelabra that are more building up and putting all of it together. I'm going to put my paints out while I'm talking, otherwise we're going to be here all day. These need shaking up. So we would do this over the course of a week, the drawing, and then we would do the painting over the course of the week, and I would teach you about how to use different paints, how to work out what colour to use and things like that. Bit of colour theory, that kind of thing. And then what we're going to do in the third thing today, the colour pencil and adding detail and all that kind of stuff, would be week 3. And we might take it a bit further and talk about, adding mediums to it and things like that, maybe some collage. So the basics of it, yes, this is exactly how I teach, but I'm not teaching right now. I'm showing you what I'm doing. So I'm making it up as I go along, whereas when I teach, I've got it all planned out months in advance. I'm currently working on what we're going to do for March, next year. I've already done a trial run, so I'll already have painted my own version of this somewhere else, whereas this is my version. And I will be telling you how to do something, or how I recommend doing something, rather than, like at the moment, I'm talking you through it as I work it out myself. So there's a lot of, oh, shall I do this? Shall I do that? Ugh. Whereas when I'm teaching, I've already done that step, and I would say, right, okay, so originally this was here, and it's a skull, and it drew, but when I drew it in, I didn't like the composition, so I took that out, and I decided that this would be better, and then tell you why I worked that out. So it's more kind of after the fact, here's the facts that you need to know, and here's how I got it to work for me. Rather than, oh, shall I do this? Shall I do that? I don't know. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, no, rub it out. You know, this is my process. This is my creative process of how I do something the first time I start. So with these paints, these are the Americana Satins from Deco Art, and I've just, as you saw, taken a little bit of the paint out, and I'm just watering it down a bit. And it does, I have to say, it does feel like watercolour. Obviously it doesn't go on like watercolour, it's going to be quite opaque. And because we're going to go over it in colour pencil afterwards, I don't need to worry about, you know, these geodes have got rings and stuff going around them. I don't need to worry about any of that. I'm just painting in the section in the centre, a little bit darker than the section around the outside, and I'll fill in the detail with colour pencil. Okay, and then this is going to be kind of greyish at the back, so just fill that in grey. Can you hear that in the background? Can you hear the yeah, normally I have my glasses. I'm also fully awake when I teach. I do my teaching filming like late in the day. Right now I'm running on about 3-4 hours sleep in the last 48 hours. 2 of which I've just had. So I woke up not knowing what day it was or what century it was. The classes are more technical, yes. Thank you, Claire. That's what I was trying to say. The classes are more technical, whereas this is just me figuring out how to do stuff. This is the stage that I've already done by the time you see me teaching it normally. So I'm just going to use a bigger brush, not bigger, but flatter brush, so I can get more coverage. I'm going to use this grey. And a tip for acrylics that I am passing on, I learnt this from Dee Dee Willingham over at Enquiries. If you haven't seen her shows, go and watch them, they're fabulous. She's an awesome artist. I'm not an acrylic painter, I'm a watercolour painter. Yes, classes are technical, more organised and a lot slower. Yes, exactly. And this 3 hours, this 6 hours would be spread out over like 3 weeks, possibly even longer. So this would be a whole month of teaching. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Classes are more technical, more organised and slower. See, if I was in teaching mode, I would have been able to say that first off. But I'm not in teaching mode. I'm in, oh, I fancy making some stuff today. Why don't I do it online and everybody can come and join me? I'm a night owl, that's right. If I was filming this as a class and teaching you, it would be 2 AM. Everything would look like it was in broad daylight because I'd have my U lights, my LED lights on. Yeah, tip for acrylic painting, before I forget to tell you, I got this from Dee Dee, so, you know, this is not me teaching you, this is me passing on a tip that she gave us. When you're using acrylic paints, always have a damp brush before you start. So you wet your brush and get it nice and wet, and then get off the excess before you use your paint. it's something to do with stopping the brush absorbing quite so much paint and getting it all stuck up in the top of the brush. But I'm not an expert with acrylic paint. I just play. I do some classes where Maddie, stop chewing your toenails. Don't huff at me either. Ooh, she's like a stroppy teenager sometimes. Yeah, it's gone again, what I was going to say. Let me colour in this skull while I think about what I was going to say before Maddie rudely interrupted me and then huffed at me like a stroppy teenager. What on earth was I saying? Oh yeah, I do sometimes do classes where it's an experimental class because I like to show people how I experiment with new toys that I get. But quite often my experimental classes like this is me playing with acrylic paints. I am not an acrylic painter, I am approaching acrylic paints. And I told DecoArt this, I did tell them this, I said I'm a watercolour artist and I like mixed media and I want to get into acrylic paints. I have absolutely no fear of trying them and I want to approach it from the view of an absolute beginner. Maddie! Baby girl! If you're going to be that noisy, can you go sit in the other room with your brother? Please? Don't huff at me. Yeah, I told them I was a beginner with acrylics and I wanted to approach it as a beginner of acrylics and show people how to play with them and try them out. And they said, oh yes, we'd love that. So that is what we're doing. We're playing with acrylics. But in classes, I do like to play with stuff, but I do it in a more organised fashion. So I might do something like this several times. This is literally the first time I've used them other than just colouring in a colour book page. This is literally the first time I've played with them. But, you know, I like to show people how to do it so that they don't have any fear. I don't have any preciousness about this book. Oh, capitals, right, okay, let me finish what I'm saying and then I'll come back to those. I don't have any preciousness about this book. I don't feel, oh, but I don't know what I'm doing with acrylic paints, therefore I can't use them in my book yet because, oh, I've got to go and do something else. No, just have at it already. It's just paper. It's just paint. It's just paper. The worst thing that can go wrong is that it looks awful and then you go, oh, well, okay, I won't do that again. Are your classes mostly drawing and painting classes or do you do other things as well? I am a mixed media journal artist. So I do paintings, I do drawings, I do mixed media, I do writing, creative writing, I do bits of planning and things, I do paper craft, I do a bit of everything, bookbinding, the whole thing. If you go over on my site, oh actually, no, it's not up at the moment. If you would have to go to my teaching site. But basically, everything that, if you go on my Tumblr, rhomanysrealm.org.uk, apart from all the photos of dogs, anything you see me do on there is basically something I teach. I write, I paint, I papercraft, I used to do scrapbooking even. I don't feel qualified to teach scrapbooking, really, because it's just sticking stuff down. Collage, all that kind of stuff. Right, what else do I need that's purple or brown? How to use acrylics from Dee Dee. Is that a comment, a question? I'm not sure. But Didi Willingham has been, she is an acrylic artist. I don't know if she's a deco art artist. She might be a deco art helping artist in America. I don't know, but she uses deco art almost exclusively. Everything she does is with the Americanas. I don't know if that's just because she loves the paint or because she's a deco art artist. But go and watch her. She's fabulous. She's a heck of an artist. I mean, I can draw and paint. But I'm a watercolour artist. She's an acrylic artist. So I'm learning bits and pieces and playing on my own and, trying different things that she's done. So I've seen her using things like watering down acrylics and thought, I didn't know you could do that. Okay. And now I'm having a go at it. And once I've played with it enough, sort of, give me 6 months and I'll be able to teach you how to do this because I will have played with it. One of my pet hates is people who watch somebody else's show and then repeat everything verbatim, like they know what they're talking about. You can't possibly know what you're talking about just from watching somebody else. You have to get in there and play and everything else. It's the same as a class. Okay, if you take a class and all you do is sit and watch the video, you're not going to learn anything. I guarantee you, you're not going to learn anything, especially in my classes, because my classes are not monkey see, monkey do. We don't just, I wouldn't normally in one of my classes, I wouldn't provide you with the template for this and everything else and say, right, this is what we're going to do, here you go, here's how to draw it, and you draw it and it's the same as mine. I never do that in my classes. I would show you how to draw a candle. I would show you how to draw a skull. I would show you how to draw the flowers and how to use your reference pictures and things like that, how to create your composition, how you want it, but it will be up to you to create what you wanted. You wouldn't end up with a page exactly like mine. Not unless that's what you chose to do. No, When Frogs Sing for those watching the replay, are there writing sections in When Frogs Sing 2016? Yes and no. When Frogs Sing 2015 had planning, writing and drawing. Or planning, writing and arting, really, because we've done watercolours, we've done pencils, we've done pens, all sorts. But it's all been very basic, brief overviews. Next year, When Frogs Sing 2016 is exclusively drawing, painting and mixed media. However, because I had so many people ask me about the planning and writing from When Frogs Sing 2015, I'm rerunning alongside When Frogs Sing 2016 the planning section and the writing section as 2 separate classes. So throughout the year, every 3 or 4 days, you will get a planning prompt and then a writing prompt. And you can do those if you want to. They're freebies that come with When Frogs Sing 2016. I will be there to help critique and things like that. And I'll just be putting up last year's stuff again, redoing it. And anybody who did last year's class is already enrolled on it. So you'll have some people redoing it from last year. So they'll share tips and tricks that they've got as well. Because I don't believe that I am the great guru who knows absolutely everything about creative writing or anything like that. I know very little about a lot of things. That's interesting. After a while these separate. The water and the paint separates. Just keep an eye on that. So what was that? Maybe 20 minutes? So after 20 minutes, the water and the paint starts to separate and you have to remix it. What was I saying? I've done it again. Yeah, you can do, if you're not interested in painting, you don't have to do the painting. You could do When Frogs Sing 2015 and just do the basics and the planning and writing. So the basic art stuff. Or you can do there's taster courses from 2014, because we did like urban sketching, we did sketchnoting, we did art history, all these little 10-day classes linked together that created an entire class. And I've split those up into mini classes. They're like £10 taster classes. When Frog Sing 2015 is also available as 4 semesters. So you can do 1 semester or 3 months worth of drawing, painting, drawing and painting and writing. Or you can just do the planning, or you can just do the writing. Does that make sense? I need to put all this up on the website. I haven't had time because I've been doing my taxes for the last 2 weeks. Unfortunately, because I had to move twice over the summer, I'm very behind. Normally I would have done my taxes back in July. And then my website was taken down. So I've had to start that again. And of course putting the classes up is the most important thing, and I'm still transferring classes over. So I'm a bit busy, but I'm slowly getting ahead of myself. From now on, right the way through till February, when I just have I have to redo my quarterly accounts. From here on in, it's just teaching in YouTube. That's all I've got on, which is nice because I feel like I haven't really painted or anything in a very long time. This is going on really nicely on this paper. It is wrinkling because there's water in it, but I know from experience of using watercolours and having them much wetter than this on the page. Oh, that's one page. It's very thick. I use watercolours much wetter than this on the page, and once you've put pencil over the top, it flattens out. And then because you've got a big, thick, heavy book, that will flatten it out as well. So you don't really need to worry about paper warping or anything like that. I saw somebody asking something about supplies. Feel bad yelling at me. Don't feel bad yelling at me. I cannot see it. I cannot see questions in chat if you don't put them in capitals. I ask people to put them in capitals specifically. It's like being in a classroom. If you want my attention, you've got to shout at me. Where did the question go? Oh, you were asking them how much did you spend on supplies for the class. I don't recommend people spending lots on supplies for the class. Especially beginners. You don't need it. Hi, Caitlin. I'm going to be putting up introductory videos over the next week or so, which I will make public, talking about supplies. But basically, the techniques that I use pen and ink, watercolour, and colour pencils, primarily. I will use other things because it's a mixed media class next year, so I will show you stuff, and I might pull out my portfolio pastels and say, right, this is what I've got and this is how I use them. If you're interested in trying these, here's how to get them. But this is basically, these are cheap. You can get these on Amazon for like $10, £10. I don't think they're even £10 on the UK site for a 24 set of pastels, and they're amazing. I don't recommend buying anything expensive, except I recommend getting a black, brown and white Prismacolor pencils, colouring pencils, purely because the black, white and brown are used in specific ways. All the other colours you could get you can get Crayola brand pencils. I use Crayola. I love Crayola. I quite often recommend Crayola for my students. My watercolour set of pencils. Oh, where is it? No, it's caught under there. Hang on. My watercolour set of pencils. You'd think, being a professional watercolour artist, I would have a massive set of enormous watercolour pencils. No, I have these. I have a 12 set of Crayola watercolour pencils because they're the best I've tried. They are Crayola Pro, not Crayola student grade. But they're still not as expensive as the basic brands and anything else. I maintain that you need to spend your money on doing the class, which is why my classes are a little, well, they're not expensive. It's £99 for an entire year of teaching. If you split it up, then I'm just going to bring some mauve over here to bring it down into this corner. So I'm going to do these candles. It's £99 for an entire year. If you split it up over the 12 months, it's £40 a class, which is £120 for the year, which is still not much. That's still like 50p a day. And for the amount of information I give you, that's nothing. But you're better off spending it on teaching and learn how to use your supplies and learn how to play with your supplies and learn how to decide which supplies you love and which ones you hate. There's no point in buying a massive thing of Prismacolor pencils and then finding out, actually, I don't like working in colour pencil. You know, you need to decide that for yourself, and the only way to do that is to try a couple of cheap brands. Yeah, you might find that you love the Prismacolor pencils above all other colour pencils, but if you don't like colour pencils at all, there's no point having any Prismacolors. Yeah, you just want the basics. So I teach you how to pick and choose what you want. But if you bought, let's say you went all out and you bought the Koi watercolours, let's get over enthusiastic and say you get the 36 set instead of the 24 set that I recommend. So that's about £20. A set of Crayola pencils or Beryl is the same brand. It's the same people that used to make Prismacolor back in the day, which is why they're so good. You could get a decent set of Beryl watercolour pencils for about £12. The classes are available to buy. They're just not listed on the site as with all the information. If you sign up to my my classes site, rhomany.org.uk/classes, the sign-in password is Scooby, SCOOBY. You can sign up and buy any classes you want. And all the information is there. I just haven't got it on my website yet. Because my website was destroyed and I had to restart it. When you get confident with what you have, upgrade your supplies. Exactly, Claire. That's what I teach people. So let's say conservatively 15 quid on a decent set of, or half decent set of watercolour pencils, which you can use as colour pencils as well. And then you don't even need to buy the watercolours. So you can buy watercolours, you can buy colour pencils, or you can just say, I'll get some watercolour pencils and kill two birds with one stone. The acrylics that I'll be using, I'm using the Deco Art acrylics. I quite like them. I have played with them and I do like them. So I will be using those. If you have a brand that you like, if you love Liquitex, then use Liquitex, they're cheap. So let's say you bought, they're £2 each roughly. Let's say you went and bought maybe 20 colours. So that's 40, so we're up to 40, 50, 60, £75. Let's assume you get this journal because you like the look of this journal. These are about £15, so that's £80, £90. And then I would recommend getting, I recommend everybody starts drawing with a black Bic pen or ballpoint pen. Like cheapy cheap. It doesn't even have to be a proper Bic crystal. I recommend drawing with the cheapest, crappiest pen you can find. Because if you can draw with that, you can draw with anything. But let's say you got all excited and you bought the carbon ink pen and the converter and a big bottle of ink. Well, I did that and it cost me £15. That's, what, £105? That's all you need. You don't really need anything else. A glue stick, a pair of scissors. Who doesn't have those hanging around the house anyway? Maybe a little bottle of gesso. I do like the Liquitex gesso. But I don't use gesso very much. I use it as a mixed media tool. I don't use it to prep my pages or anything. I mean, I'm using acrylic on this page. I didn't prep it with gesso or anything. Yes, the acrylic would go on so much better if I was using it over gesso, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to get some orange and yellow going. Oh, a water brush, yes. I do recommend getting a water brush rather than separate brushes. Separate brushes for acrylic, like a thin one, a flat one, and a bigger one. Like a 1/2 inch square or something like that. Water brush is the best way to go for that kind of stuff. A very, 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 very thin brush if you want to do inking, but you don't really need to. But if you buy the koi watercolours, and this is another reason why I recommend them, they come with a water brush. You don't need to buy a water brush because the koi watercolours have got one already. So as I go through this, I'm thinking about colour and composition, and I'm just trying to spread the colours out all over the page. And what I want to do, oops, close your lids or you will get skin on the top of your watercolours. Thank you, Dee Dee. I'm going to have this flower is going to be a kind of reddish orange, which it was in the original picture. So I'll start with orange. If you put the base down as the lightest colour you're going to use, so if it's going to be red with orange bits, do it orange. You can always add more red and make it darker, but you're going to have trouble making it lighter. So I'm just going to colour it in orange to begin with, and I can come in and put fine detail in with pencil or pen or whatever over the top. See, now, Caitlin has just said the Inkjoy pens are great too and super cheap. Which is a typical kind of comment we get from students. Okay, it's an absolutely typical comment, and most teachers would say, oh yeah, they're really nice too. I wouldn't. Not because I don't like Inkjoy. I do like Inkjoy. I quite like them. They're very thick. I like them for drawing rather than writing. I can't write with one to save my life. But I would never say, like, endorse Caitlin saying that in a class and say, oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't tell her off either, but I would never endorse it and back it up and say, oh yeah, Inkjoys are a good idea too. I would say it's not about brand. It's not about brand or anything. It's about find any old ballpoint pen. Yes, you might like the Inkjoys personally, because they have certain qualities that other pens don't. You might prefer a Pilot pen because of the grip on the pen itself, or unless you've got a physical reason to want a particular pen. Like if somebody's got arthritis and they struggle with holding a pen, I might recommend a particular pen that's got a big case or something like that, and say, well, why don't you try one of these? That might help. But I would never just endorse, oh yes, get Inkjoys, they're really good, because you like them. The fact that you like them, honestly, is neither here nor there. The fact that I like them is neither here nor there. You've got to find a ballpoint that you are comfortable using. And the Inkjoys are nice pens that feel nice in your hand, and a lot of people are not comfortable using them because they feel too nice to use. They feel too nice to doodle with. Whereas your bog standard typical ballpoint pen that you nick from the catalogue shop, or Argos or whatever. Argos have gone to digital things. You can't get a ballpoint pen in there anymore. But if you can write with one of those cheap, crappy little pens, or if you can draw with it rather, and you can deal with the fact that the ink blots and it will dry out periodically and this, that and the other, You can draw with anything. Anything you use that is nice, like the ink joys, and yes, the ink joys are lovely. They flow beautifully, they glide across the paper. The ink is really vibrant in them, it's beautiful colours, etc., etc. They are very nice. But if you start with those, you will never gain the skills that you will gain picking up a cheap old crappy ballpoint that only half works and working with that. Because you will have to overcome your materials working against you. And if your materials work against you, you'll learn more. So if you buy cheap pencils, cheap colour pencils, yes, you'll be a little bit frustrated in that you'll be like, oh, well, you know, I really wanted to learn how to do what you do like this, but it doesn't work with these pencils because they don't blend, blah, blah, blah. Yes, but the skills you are learning, trying to make those pencils blend even though they don't want to, once you come to the pencils that do blend, you'll go, oh, wow, oh, this is amazing. Instead of having these really expensive pencils that you don't really know what to do with. I'm just trying to think ahead to what colours I need now. So this is going to be kind of yellowy because that's a glass jar. I think I need some more grey. I love Bic ballpoints for drawing, I have to say. That's a personal preference of mine. Between those and my Parker Jotter, I could be happy forever. I love my Parker Jotter. Again, a Parker Jotter, it looks like an expensive pen. When you see it, everybody looks at it and goes, oh, that's a nice pen. Where did you get that? It's a bog standard £4.99 pen that most students here have for school. You know, when you graduate to high school and you need a nice pen, because most people don't write with fountain pen anymore, quite often your present will be a ballpoint from Parker because they are the school pens. But I love them. You can get cheap ballpoint pens in the US from TD Bank. Good to know. Yeah. For what you do, Tracy, drawing in pencil because you erase a lot, yes, for what you do, I understand that. Because you're doing... It'll be more apparent when we do pets and people later on in next year's class. But yes, for what you do, I can kind of understand that. However, if I'd been teaching you right from the beginning, and I believe if you think back to way back when we first met and you just started getting back into your drawing again, and you were at that, oh, I haven't drawn for years, I'm just going to draw some Christmas baubles and hope they come out right. When you were at that stage, I believe I said to you, stop half-assing it and get yourself a pen and just get on and draw. Because you'll learn a lot more by drawing in pen and not being able to correct your mistakes. The first few times you do it, like the first 3 or 4 months, it'd be really difficult because you won't be able to change what you're doing. You'll have to learn how to put a line down and deal with it. If it's wrong, redraw it. But it will teach you so much about letting go and not being prissy about it. None of my pencil lines here are perfect. I didn't even erase properly all the pencil lines. I've got smudges, this, that and the other everywhere. Now you would never allow that on one of your pictures, Tracy. You'd have that all perfectly cleaned up and tidy. And that is partly because of the way you've taught yourself to do it. And partly because you are a complete perfectionist. Everything has to be just so. What I teach people is that everything doesn't have to be just so. You have to work with what you've got to make just so look really good. Or to make not just so look really good anyway. Break it like you mean it. That's what I say. If you're going to mess it up properly and then work out where to go from there. There are no, what is it Bob Ross says? There are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Something like that. If I buy 2015 class, how long will I have access to the content? Right. Access to the content is, for all classes, is lifetime. Now, lifetime access does not mean, as some people have interpreted it, lifetime, I've got access to these classes forever, I've paid for these and therefore I can have them forever and ever and ever and a day. All the classes go up and they are downloadable. So you can download the classes, they're there, you need me alongside you teaching it. They're not self-study classes. I don't teach self-study. I don't like that way of teaching, but also it causes problems with our new VAT laws. All my classes are hands-on taught classes, but when you get the videos, you can download them and keep them for as long as you want. However, I don't delete classes. I just last year got rid of a class that I had first taught back in 2008. And the only reason I got rid of the class was because I couldn't be bothered to transfer it over from the old site to the new site and have it competing with my newer videos, which are much better quality. Basically, they're from like 7-8 years ago, when, you know, technology was not as good as it is now. Nobody could afford HD cameras. Nobody had an HD camera. Now everybody's got an HD camera on their phone, for goodness sake, you know. Okay, paper pilling. That's paper pilling there. Bits of paper are coming off. That's because I rubbed it with a cloth. Don't panic. Rub it gently with your finger until the majority of the bits come off, and then leave it the hell alone until it dries. This is acrylic paint. Once it dries, it will be waterproof. So you will have a waterproof layer on top of that little bit of paper, and you can add some more paint to it, but only once it's dry. You like the spring feel of the Parker pens? Yeah, that's what I like about them. They have a spring inside, and you can't press too hard with them. They're very comfortable to write with. They're beautiful to draw with as well. I missed a question. No, I didn't. Yeah, so access to class content is lifetime. So if the class site crashes or is taken down, or some crazy voodoo technical stuff happens, which tends to happen, I'm still trying to sort out when Christmas in July. It's October. It's November next week. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the damn class to post. It's so frustrating because it just won't post. You will get those classes. They will be up and they will be finished. I've got them. I just can't get them to post on the site, but I'm not going to allow it to beat me. I'm going to sit down with it at some point and say, right, today is the day where I figure this out, work out what the problem is, fix the technical issues, and bam, there's your classes. But just because that class was only available for 1 month, or was only a 1-month class, Christmas in July, doesn't mean that you won't be able to have it later in the year. People have got access to it until possibly I get really frustrated with it and say, screw it, I'm just going to start again. But if that happens, I usually let people have free access to the class. I did that with Christmas last year. Last year's Christmas class was a bit of a disaster because I was so sick. And obviously, you know, I can't help being sick. I was sick for like 3 months. It wasn't like just a bit of I had a bit of a cold. I was really ill. I'm going to do this black, grey. This is a clear glass bowl, but I'm going to do it like a smoky glass so that it brings it forward and pushes that voodoo doll back. Because if I do it clear, he kind of looks like he's part of the glass, which is not what I want. What was I saying? I interrupted myself and now I don't know what I was saying. See, in a class video, that bit would be edited out, and so would that bit. You don't get me going in a class video. In a live video, you have to deal with it because, you know, I mean, in a YouTube video, I would normally cut most of that out as well, although you might get me going, okay, let me try and say that again. But in a class video, you wouldn't. I take my classes very seriously. I'm a professional teacher. I'm not just somebody who woke up one morning and went, oh, I think I'll start teaching painting today. I've been a teacher for a very long time. I'm fully qualified. I'm qualified to teach online. I'm qualified to teach adults. I'm qualified to teach people with learning disabilities. You know, I've got an extensive list of teaching credentials. The fact that I used to teach IT, not art, is neither here nor there. I know how to teach. And from there on, it's just knowing your subject. Yeah, it's not about being looser, Tracy. It's not about... Assuming you mean precision versus sketching. It's not really about that. It's about confidence. It's about giving yourself the confidence. Honestly, the best thing you could do with all these paintings and things that you do of pets, okay, get yourself a sketchbook, a nice big thick one like this, or one of those freestyle notebooks, yeah, something with loads of paper that it doesn't matter if you mess it up. Get yourself one of those and a pen, any old crappy Bic ballpoint, whatever you happen to have to hand that particular day, whatever you've got in your hand when you sit down with your book. And every day, try to do a little bit of a sketch of one of your dogs. Not for anybody else, not to have a finished drawing, not to have anything, just to try and capture what your dog looks like right now. And try and do it as fast as you can. And I guarantee you, in 6 months, you'll be able to sit down and draw your dog, and it will look like your dog in a matter of minutes. Because it's the gesture drawing. And once you can do that with your dogs, you'll be able to look at other people's dogs and go, ooh, yeah, I see where that is. I see what that looks like. Yeah, he's got this kind of look. You know when you were trying to get that kind of slightly suspicious look that Scooby has? Where he's like, what are you doing now, Mum? I'm not sure if I like this. Yeah, he has that slightly suspicious look. And you said it took you ages to capture that. If you can start capturing the essence of your own dogs in pen just by sitting down and doing a couple of sketchy lines, then your ability to sit down and capture somebody else's dog is just going to take off. It really is. Because on somebody else's picture, you're going to work far harder than on something that you're just, oh, I'm just sitting down in front of the TV and Joey's doing something completely mental, so I'm just sketching a picture of him. And nobody else ever has to see those pictures. So you don't ever have to think, oh no, that's bad. Oh no, I didn't do that right. Oh no, I have to do this a bit better. Oh no. You don't have to be in any way prissy about it. The best thing you can do is draw it and then make little notes on the page about how you feel about it right now in the moment. Date it. And say, okay, ooh, I should have done this. His head's wonky. His legs are don't look the same length. I can't do the foreshortening on the body. Whatever. Make a few quick notes, and then once a month, go through your entire sketchbook again. Every page. Look at every page. Reread your notes. Look at your sketches. And after a while, you'll start looking at things and going, I really like the way I've drawn his back there. That's exactly how I wanted it. Or I really like the way I shaded his paw. I really like the way I drew his ear on that one. And you'll start picking out things that you really love about your pictures. You need time and distance from them to do that. And the only way to do that is to draw. Draw. Yes, be aware that rhomany might throw a metaphysical blackboard rubber at you. Students who don't do the work, or who do the work but never bother to tell me that they've done the work, and I don't mean posting in the forum, you don't have to post in the forum. I've got at least 3 or 4 students who never ever post in the forum. You would never even know they were in the class unless I told you, but they email me once a week with all the stuff they've done. And once a week I get back to them and I say, yeah, this is really good, this needs looking at, you could improve this by doing this, you know, and I critique them. I do a private critique for them. They get no more or no less than what I give them in the forum. And I don't believe in doing critique as in, oh yes, that's very pretty. It drives me insane when teachers say, oh yeah, I do full critiques for every piece that you upload on the forum. And then all you get is, oh yes, I like that. Oh, that's very pretty. Oh, I like the colours you've used there. That's not critique. It drives me insane when people do that. Proper critique is, I like what you've done here, I like what you've done there, you've tackled this very well. This is not so good, you could have worked that a little bit better. I suggest you do this, this, this and this perhaps to try this. Or you could do this to practice. You know, like I've just been saying to Tracy. Here's what you could do to practice and get better at doing that. You know, I give you good and bad feedback. You were just kidding. No, I do actually I do throw metaphysical board rubbers at people. I am the Professor Snape of the mixed media art world. There's no silly wand waving in my classes. There will be no silly wand waving or incantations in my classes. Oh. Right, my orange has dried out now because I talk too much. I need the orange. I'm going to do this in orange because this is going to be very watered down. This whole thing is very bright because it's a glass jar and it's got a very bright candle in it. So I'm just going to do that orange and we'll deal with the colour later. I'm also going to do a little bit more. I'm also going to do the same with this box. I think what I'll do with this box is make it like bronzy. So we'll see if we can get a metallic finish over this satin paint, which I have no idea if we can do, but I've got gold Prismacolor. We'll see if we can do that. Not really used my gold Prismacolor, so see if we can get like a metallic-y kind of finish to it. Oops, some more pilling there. I'm just going to leave that because it's, if I move that, it's going to take the paint off, and I don't want it to take the paint off. Okay, I think I'm going to do my crystal ball like a dark purple colour. That would be nice, rather than doing it black or just crystal, like a purpley crystal. How long do you keep old sketchbooks and artwork for? Oh God, I've got artwork from when I was like 4. Seriously, my mum had a big clear out not long ago of the thing, and she used to keep my stuff. And she turned up with this box of things and said, this is all the artwork and stuff that I kept from when you were a kid. And I haven't thrown any of it out. Why would I? It's my journey. It's how I got from there to here. It's my story. It's part of my journals. But, you know, if you're not much into sentimentality and things like that, then, you know, only keep them as long as they're useful. You know, when you no longer bother looking at a book anymore, or you flip through it and you don't learn anything from it, and you don't look at it and think, oh, I like that, or oh, I might try redoing that, or oh, that's a good idea, and I might try that technique again, then that book no longer serves a purpose. So recycle it, get rid of it, make some space on your shelves for a new one, or a more recent one. You always feel like it's no good. Most of your teachers told you that. Yeah, everybody has that. Just ignore that, okay? Just ignore that. Everybody was told their art was rubbish, okay? My mum was an art teacher. My mum, until very recently, was an art teacher. I learnt everything I know about art from her. And I went to do art GCSE in high school at sort of 14, 15, and they told me I was rubbish and I should just give it up and go and stick with creative writing, which is what I was good at. And now look at me. I make a living from teaching how to do art. So, you know, don't listen to people who tell you it's no good. Of course it was no good. Your teachers told you that when you were a child back in school. If you've never picked up a pencil since, you've got, well, how long ago was it you were in school? 10 years? 15 years? Longer? That's how long you've got to make up for, that you've not picked up a pencil. If the last time you picked up a pencil was when you were 10, you can't expect to now come to it and pick up a pencil and say, oh yeah, well I can draw like a teenager now. You can't. You'll be drawing like you were 10. Because you haven't done anything with it since. I'm just putting light colour on this. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this glass bottle over here yet, but I'm just going to stick a colour on it just for the point of having a colour. Let's crack out some yellow. Oh, having a house fire and losing all your bits. Crikey. Yeah, that's my worst nightmare, basically. Although, you know, if you get out alive and you've got all your essentials and your cats and your kids and everything else, what's a few books? Yeah, it's memories and things lost, but it's just your more journal fodder then, isn't it? Because you can go, oh, well, I've lost all those memories from when we did such and such, so you have to redo it. There's a prompt you can do in your journal when you don't know what to write about. You can write about that wonderful holiday that you still remember while you still remember it. But yeah, that would be, I can't imagine dealing with that. That would be pretty horrible. I'm going to put, I've got a yellow up here. I'm going to put this yellow in here on this chalice. We make this more of a goldy colour than a... more of a gold than a brass. I'll do the same with this here. And maybe this one. So you can put yellow down and then turn it silver later. It's a light colour. We can do whatever we want over the top. It's just spreading the colours out. We're going to need a brown down here on the wand, but I'll use a light brown. So I'll do it yellow for now, and then we can decide what we're going to do with it afterwards. Let's have a yellow crystal down here somewhere, or whatever that is. That placemat could be yellow. Just because it's yellow now doesn't mean it's going to stay yellow. Hi Vicky! You were watching Crimson Peak. Oh, it's awesome, isn't it? I told you you'd love it. I want to go and see it again. I'm going to go Tuesday is half day. If you see 2 movies, you get them. It's 2 for 1. So you get 2 movies, half price. And I think I might go and watch Crimson Peak again and Witch Hunter, because Witch Hunter is only on till Thursday. So I might as well go and see it on the half day. Oops, what's this going on here? Skin going on there. Don't want that. Let's get some red out. Yeah, I might go and do that Tuesday. I think after 2 weeks of doing accounts, and then a day of doing live shows today, and then tomorrow I'm editing videos for next week. I haven't done that yet because I've been I don't normally work Sundays, but I've got to edit videos for next week. I think I've earned a day off. Yeah, proper gothic. The ghosts were, did you know the ghosts weren't CGI? They were all green screened, like, you know, like when they did Smeagol in Lord of the Rings. Oh, this red is very dense. I should have remembered that from last time because I used a tiny bit and I ended up with all this. It's happened again. That red is very, very pigmented. It's okay, it's not a major issue, but... Maddie, what are you crying about, darling? I'll check this red as well. Actually, I've forgotten I was going to use red. I'm going to put some red on his heart there. Maddie! My love, what are you crying for? Do you need to go for a wee-wee? No, you're just fussing, are you? Okay. She's just fussing. I can't believe it's starting to go dark already. It's like 4:45. Crikey, 4:45! Oh my god, we've only got like another 20 minutes. Yeah, it's starting to go dark, so when I come back I'll have to put the lights on, I think. If I'm lucky, my router will be here and set up, and we'll be able to see if the stream is better with the router, the new router. Alice Cooper, you went to see Alice Cooper? Yeah, he's really good, isn't he? He's just awe-inspiring. Is this too random? Any news on One Book Christmas? I know it's a ways off, but I'm a fluff ball of excitement. I don't do Christmas until after Halloween. Hang on till next week. But yeah, if you go to facebook.com/groups/One Book July, I think it's that, or it might be facebook.com One Book July. I can't remember. Vicky, can you get the link, please, for One Book July and post it in chat? It will be posted on there. Basically, it's going to be more journaling, or more based towards having a book of your Christmas, as opposed to we're only using one book for the whole of Christmas like we do in July. That's what that's for. I'm going to do my poppet grey as well. He won't finish grey, he's going to be cream, but I'm going to paint him in grey for now. What was I saying? Yeah, there will be news about One Book Christmas going up on One Book July Facebook page very soon. But it will be more towards keeping a memory book type journal. Not the same as, but along the lines of the kind of thing that Jenny Penton does with her, what does she call them, planner books? Yeah, planner books she calls them. Where she has everything together and it's all ornate. It's not going to be like hers, but along those lines. More along those lines than One Book July is more about getting back to basics and finding out what works for you and all that. Frankly, Christmas is busy enough without adding that to it. It's just about organising Christmas. But it's basically similar to what I do in Christmas Chronicles normally, but it will be a free YouTube class. But there will also be, we're doing a PDF to go with it that will have, if you want them, prompts, planner prompts, journal prompts. I'm hoping to do some colouring bits, just like little colouring things that you can do. You can use if you don't have time, because not everybody has time to do stuff over Christmas. With the best will in the world, even if you are a prolific drawer, if you've got 3 kids and they're all of school age, you're going to struggle to get an awful lot done at Christmas, especially if you're having Christmas at home and you've got the in-laws coming and you've got your mum and dad coming, and you've got maybe your brother and his family coming for New Year, and and then you've got Thanksgiving because you're in the US. It could be a nightmare. So I want to make it as easy for people as possible, and I want to encourage people to say, you know what, I can't be doing with this. I'm just going to go and get a freebie off Pinterest, or I'm gonna go and download a book off Etsy. Oh, go and check out Raven Ink, Little Raven Ink. I don't know, she's got that many different names. I need to tell her off again and tell her to consolidate her names. Courtney Brooke. No, she was Courtney Brooke. She's Courtney Diaz now. That's my blog, yeah. Have you got the one for One Book July? The Facebook page, please. And if somebody can find somebody who's subscribed to Courtney, can you find that video she did the other day for Christmas? Her and I can't remember her name. The other girl who did the Con Marie books. You know, I'm going to make this into a plant. I don't want another. I don't want another candle. I want something different. The Little Ink is her YouTube. Thank you, Foxy. Yeah, she's designed a book for Midori Traveller's Notebook. Hi, Valerie. The event. Yes, thank you. I've forgotten. I put it up as a calendar event on Facebook. Yeah. So that is the link to the One Book Christmas event. So until we actually start it and it goes on One Book July, thanks Vicky. Until it goes on One Book July proper, it's all on that event page. Yes, her Christmas planner. She's got it all set up already because she's helped this girl design the inserts, and she's got like Elf on the Shelf and everything. Well, obviously, if you're doing Elf on the Shelf for the kids, you're going to want to start December the 1st. So doing One Book Christmas, you're going to want to get a head start on that. So you might want to go and have a look at that already if you want to do Elf on the Shelf. And I want some green in this bit, but there's nowhere to put any green, so I'm going to do the tasseling green. Yeah, you want to get a head start on your ideas for Elf on the Shelf. There's no point waiting until the 1st. Thank you, Vicky. You can put full links. You don't have to block them out. I've enabled links so you can post proper links. I don't like Elf on the Shelf. I think he's a creepy little git. Dinosaurs in the Pantry was funny. Okay, Elf on the Shelf, that's creepy. Have you seen the Dinosaurs in the Pantry? It's on it's like on Pinterest or Tumblr or something. Some kids wanted dinosaurs for Christmas, and they stopped playing with them. So their dad started playing with them, and he'd have them getting up to all sorts of things, and they were like eating cereal in the morning, and they'd come down and they'd be eating the eggs. They'd have broken eggs on the floor, and they'd be eating the eggs off the floor. And the kids were coming down and cleaning up so that Dad didn't find out about the dinosaurs. It was so funny. And he'd set up, I think he'd set up like cameras or something. Or they had cameras in the house, they had security cameras. This is black, I'm going in with a bit of black now. They had some security cameras or something in the house. Or he set one up. Whatever it was, anyway, wherever they hid these dinosaurs, he found them. He knew where they were because he saw it on camera. So they were getting increasingly more inventive about where they'd hide the dinosaurs. And they lock them in boxes and all sorts. And of course, you know, they'd lock them in the toy box and then they'd hide the key somewhere. And Dad would know where the key was, and he'd get the key out, and the key would be lying on the floor next to the toy box, and the dinosaurs would have broken out again. It was hilarious. Now that was really funny. I loved it. But no, Elf on the Shelf. No. Lovely Olga. Lovely Olga. You know, Olga from Art Mingle. I love the way she says that. It's so cute. She's got such a lovely voice. She's such a sweetheart. She sent me some stuff last year, and she sent me an Elf on the Shelf because she was trying to encourage people to do it with her. And she sent me one thinking I'd love it, and I didn't. And I had to say to her, I'm terribly sorry. I really appreciate the fact that you thought of me. Thank you so much. But this thing isn't even coming out of the box. I'm not even unpacking it. It's going straight back in the post, and I'm sending it to Anna. So that's how Anna Brimbles ended up with an Elf on the Shelf, because I knew she wanted one. And I thought, well, I'm not gonna waste it. You know, Olga was kind enough to send it to me. I'm not gonna just have it sitting in a corner and waste it. And honestly, I didn't want it in the house. I was that creeped out by it. I don't like dolls, and I don't like clowns. So this kind of creepy pixie coming to life and wandering around the house at night, no. I'm sorry, no. I'm going to darken up the lid of this bottle, because the lid of this bottle is actually black. And I'm just going to put some darker areas in, basically. Yeah, and she, bless her, she wasn't offended at all. She said she wouldn't have sent it to me if she'd known I didn't like dolls. But he's gone to a good home. Anna's been playing with him, and I'm sure she'll get him out again this year. She had him going out at, like, escape. The bunny rabbits were escaping and stuff. She's just had loads of fun playing with it. Even though she doesn't have kids, she just had loads of fun playing with it. I think John got into it at one point as well. I don't like all that red there. I'm going to drop some black into there just to darken that down. I don't like all the red together, and then I'm just going to use a little bit of red and put it on that mat there instead, or that bit of paper or whatever it is that's there. Let's go to town and put some on that rainbow. Put some on that label, and then I think I will also add some to this petunia over here, because this is going to end up red in the middle anyway, so I'm just going to add a little bit of shading to it where it's going to be darker anyway. There we go. I need some red down here, so I'm just going to put a rim on this cup just to add some red. I'll tie a ribbon around it, or I could do a bow, couldn't I? There we go. Draw a bow in with the square nib of the paintbrush. And we can tidy that up later. So yeah, lovely Olga sent me an Elf on the Shelf, and he didn't even make it out of the box. Yeah, Scary Goth Lady ran from the elf. If Granny Weatherwax is running from something, it's time to go. I can get... Ooh, let's put some black up in there. Let's make this candle black. Could be fun. And yes, I'm aware I'm using black and grey, but I'm just doing it so that when I come to do them, I remember that certain bits are black and certain bits are grey. These are going to be black, but they're shiny black, so they're going to want bits of white, bits of grey, bits of blue maybe. He is going to be a creamy colour. He's going to go lighter grey. This is going to go darker. This is glass. This is matte. That's matte black, so that's going to be darker. You know, I'm just trying to get a feel for And the same with like the candle flames. I'm just going to whack some yellow in where the candles are lit. Just so I don't forget to colour it in, basically. And then what I'd like is a really dark blue. But I don't have a really dark blue, so I'm going to use a mid blue. I want Prussian blue, but I don't have any Prussian blue. I want this part to stay lighter, but I want this part to be darker, where the table is. So I'm going to get a bit of blue. Like so. And I'm going to add black to it. Until I get a colour that I can live with. A bit more blue, a bit more black. Now that's basically Prussian blue. Okay. So all I'm going to do is see where would my tabletop be. Let's say it's going to be about there. So all I'm going to do is go in here. And yeah, I'm aware that I'm going to be colouring over a few things. I've just coloured over those ribbons on that bottle. Again, we can tidy it up later with a pen or pencils or whatever. I can go in the nooks and crannies with a pencil, a dark pencil. Indigo works well with Prussian blue. And I can fill in all the details and stuff later. Does not have to be perfect now. This is just the first layer of colour. This is a colour wash, basically. This is exactly what I do with watercolours. It's exactly the same process. That's why I was intrigued by it when I saw Dee Dee using an acrylic wash, because I've not used an acrylic wash before. I've used glaze and I don't like it. I've used acrylic on its own and I wasn't really overly impressed with it. It works backwards for me. But then I saw Dee Dee doing this acrylic wash and I was like, ah, that could work. Okay, let's take that about there. And I have to say, it's very much like working with watercolour, except that it's permanent. It's kind of like working with Inktense pencils, or Inktense. You know, once you've wet it, it's permanent. You could probably get this same effect with Inktense pencils, but Inktense pencils are very, very bright. And you'd have to have a good set of, because they're professional quality, you would have to have a good set of pencils. So if you've got some Faber-Castells or some Caran d'Ache or a set of Prismacolors, you could get away with doing that easily. Over the top of Inktense. But if you're only using Crayola is not bright enough and dense enough to... Yeah, Prussian blue is navy. It's kind of a Payne's grey kind of blue. It's one of my favourite colours. I'm not a blue person at all. I'm not big onto blue. I like my bright pink, my purples, but this is a really nice alternative to black. Sometimes black is too much. And obviously with this, we want to be able to put shadows in. And you can't put shadows over black, because everything's black. But if you use navy blue, you can put in black areas as the shadows. See, there's method in my madness. Bye, Caitlin. There's another show in 2 hours, if you're free. Check out the Facebook page. I could tell you all about that now, couldn't I? This is part 2, and then in part 3, when this has all had a chance to dry, which is why I'm putting in the background and overrunning a little bit, And no, I didn't plan it to be exactly 2 hours for each segment. I thought I would overrun in all of them, actually. It's years of teaching experience. You get to know how much you can do in 2 hours. It just happens. When we come back, we're going to be colour penciling and going over the top of this. So again, what I'll do is I'll put the picture up on Facebook for the 3rd event. So if you've just joined us and you've not had a chance, or you're still drawing, you want to do your painting later but you can't do it while you're working on the show, but you want to play with colour pencils alongside me, then you can print out the colour version and colour pencil over the top. It won't have exactly the same effect, but you can try some of the techniques that I'm going to be doing with my colour pencils. A bit more black, a bit more blue. There we go. Oh, we've got some orange in there now. Oh well, never mind. I can hear water dripping somewhere and I can't work out if it's raining outside, if it's upstairs heating come on, or if it's my heating's come on. I thought I turned my heating off this morning. I don't mess about with temperatures. It's either on or it's off. And if it's on, it's because I'm cold, so I want it warm. And if it's off, it's because I'm too hot already and I don't need it to be warm. I don't mess about with, ooh, at this time it comes on at this temperature. This time it comes on at this temperature. Life's too short for that mess. Besides that, I have a war crime of a thermostat, basically. I had to watch a YouTube video to work out how to use it, and I used to teach computers. It's just the most nightmarish thing I've ever seen. And the manual was written by an engineer, if ever I saw it. Okay, there we go. Dat be dat. I'm going to leave the background. I don't know what I'm going to do with the background yet. I will, once I've got some more detail in those flowers and leaves, and erase the pencil lines that I don't need to be up there because I've got some scribbles up there, then I will work out what I'm going to do with the background. I might just leave it as it is. I might add some shading, or I might grey it out. I don't know. Either way, I'll think of something. But yeah, basically when we come back, we're going to be working on the different colours. We're working with different colour pencils on getting some of this looking good. Now that that's dry, I can rub off those bits that came loose. There we go. Oh, well, I've still got a little bit of grey. Needed to sort out that one there. See, goes on perfectly well, no pilling, because we let it dry completely, so now that's waterproof basically, because it's got a plastic coat over the top. So, as soon as this is dry, I'll take a photo of it and I'll put it up on the Facebook page on the event. So if you want to print out the colour version, then you can print it out and you can colour over the top with your coloured pencils. That gives you time to play with your paints later if you want to, rather than skipping ahead on your own stuff if you're doing it alongside me. So, thanks for joining me. I'm actually awake now. Can you tell? I suddenly woke up, like about 15 minutes ago. I suddenly went, boom, I'm awake. It just happens. I'm awake now. So I might go and hopefully get my router sorted. Take the dogs for a walk, put some dinner on, and I will see you back here in an hour and 55 minutes. 6 o'clock UK time. Don't forget that we are, I'm just saying this for the benefit of anybody who watches the replay, the UK's clocks changed last weekend. The US doesn't change until this weekend. So currently we're on GMT. We are no longer 5 hours different to Eastern, we're 4 hours different until tomorrow. So don't forget that there's a bit of a difference in the time changes. Look it up on Facebook, because Facebook is UTC and it should show it in your time zone. All right, I will be back later. Thanks everybody for joining me, and look forward to seeing some of you back at 6 o'clock. Bye.